Good morning. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. First name's Doni, last name's Glover. We're going to slide down to the district today, talk to Carl Brown. Good morning to you, sir.
Hey, good morning, Donnie. It's a pleasure to be on your show, sir.
It's been a minute. Haven't seen you in a while.
I know I've been busy, man. I've been busy. So I wanted to get on the show and talk to you about all the good things that I'm doing and catch up with you, man. Because, what you do every day is vitally important in our community, especially when this whole Facebook thing, they're talking about all this stuff and how people get their news. You know how they get their news? From Facebook or Instagram. And if they're not looking at your show, they ain't really getting the news. They're getting fake news. So
Well,
that's why your show is very important.
we love business and we love politics.
Yeah, and I got the business covered, baby. So whatever you want to know about what's going on or what should be going on in the business world, that's what we're dealing with right now.
But you also in Prince George's County, and we won't go into the politics, but there's a lot of interesting politics down your way right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. But that's always the case, man. People are striving to build the community and make it better, and they think they got the magic touch. So I let them do them. I try to stick in stay in my swim lane, which is small business.
You see, small business development.
Yeah, DC Small Business Development Center. We've been here since on the campus of Howard University since 1979. And let me tell you, I was here in 1979 on the campus as a freshman. In fact, right again, you can't see it, but right across the street from my office is the dormitory I used to live in. Yeah.
You having too much fun, Carl.
Hey, I'm trying to change what's happening out there in the community. I'm trying to build better businesses, and I've been working with a lot of experts, and I think we have a really good formula for success. And in fact, our businesses that have been working with us see success, and we want to replicate that not just here in Washington D.C., but all throughout the country, because it's imperative that Black businesses become stronger and become more legacy as opposed to lifestyle. And you know the difference, Donnie.
So let's get straight to it. In terms of COVID and the pandemic, how have you been able to help the businesses?
Oh, let me tell you. And I love that question because we were able to pivot. When we had just gotten off of spring break when I got an email from the president of the university saying that please go home and shelter in place. And so I gathered up my team and I said, well, look, we all got the email. And I said, look, we got to go home and listen to this. This was my thinking. We'll probably be back next month. And that was in March of 2020. And you see, we just got back on the campus this semester. So it was a long haul. But what we were able to do with our businesses was we were able to help them pivot and go online to do some sales and marketing. And let me just show you the numbers, because two things going on in the small business community right now. You had to pivot to stay in business when the pandemic hit, because if you remember, restaurants, bars, barbershops, beauty salons, gyms, all of those places were closed. You couldn't even go into them. They had, your Safeways, the Giants, and food markets were open, but everything else was basically closed for a while. So people were panicking because this is how they make their money. So let's just look at the numbers. In 2018, this center worked with 800 clients, and we did 2,074 hours of counseling. 2018. 2021, and that's for the entire year, 2018. 2021, we still got 2 months left in the year. I'm dealing with 1,769 clients. All right. And we've done over 4,500 hours of counseling. Right. So you see the significant difference. We've doubled the number of clients and the number of hours that we actually working with our clients. And we've helped a lot of people get that PPP and the EIDL, I call them loan grants, because if you spent the money appropriately, that money became a grant. Initially, it was a loan. If you spent it, using the criteria that the SBA and the banks put out, then it turned into a grant. You didn't have to pay it back. So a lot of our businesses were able to get money. So what do we counsel our businesses on? Okay, that's a good question.
Don't get sidetracked. That's Michael Haney. He's got his own show Sunday night. I want you to stay on this thing right now about serving clients. And I say that because here in Baltimore, I'm not sure I get the same impression. If Mr. Haney, you'd like to come in on that question, then I don't mind. But here in Baltimore, I'm not convinced that our resources have gone to helping Black businesses get PPP, get EIDL. As a matter of fact, I have been hearing the complete opposite.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, Doni, because what we found, and I had CPAs and tax attorneys working with me, all right? What we found was, disheartening. We found that a lot of our clients were not financially ready for the PPP or the EIDL. They didn't have any financial infrastructure, meaning like a QuickBooks or a NetSuite or any of these other products that are out here. They had one account, which was their personal account, using it with their business, so the money was commingled. As a bank loan officer, and most of the people that we deal with, Doni, look like you and me. All right, let's put that on the table. Number two, they get bonused on the amount of money that they put out there. So I don't know about you, but that's an incentive for me to make sure that the folks coming to see me get some money. And that's why we work with our banking community.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what makes sense to me.
Right.
But I didn't see that here in Baltimore.
Well, let me tell you, we work with our banking community to make that happen. And if you noticed or read recently, that PNC gave Howard University $16.8 million the other day. And the reason being is so that we can work with Black small businesses.
Well, I need to come to DC. I'm coming to DC.
Well, no, because we're partnering with Morgan State. We're partnering with Clark Atlanta and Texas Southern to get this whole thing going. So it's not like it's just going to be here in DC. It's going, part of it is going to be in DC, but we are spreading the wealth. And like I said, we're partnering with Morgan.
But so you're also spreading the word. And see, you're in DC. You got roots in Prince George's. I'm in Baltimore. All three of these are majority Black jurisdictions.
Right.
All three of these have Black executives in the top spot. Yep. For the life of me, what happened to the spirit of Marion Barry? What happened to using our political to parlay that financial? What happened?
Well, I don't know how PNC came up with the idea.
I love it.
Me too, because guess what? I was working with the deans here in the School of Business on getting that financing. so that we can make a big difference. And that's what I'm talking about. So we're going to be doing some financial literacy, and that's going to be one of the cornerstones of our program moving forward, so that we don't fall into the same trap again in the future. I mean, regardless if there's a pandemic or whatever, we still need to be financially ready and solvent to move these businesses forward. And if you're not, guess what? You're going to go out of business. And if we've seen, and Doni, you know this to be true, we've been around for a long time, so we ain't going to be joking with each other. We're going to cut the chase, tell the truth. A lot of the businessmen and women that we've seen 20 years ago making the same dollar 20 years later. And why is that?
So look, I just want to correct Mr. Haney. According to the 2019 census, DC is 45.4% black, 42% white. So like I said, Mike Haney, it's a majority black city. However, slim the margin. Okay, so getting back to you. So what do you need now? Do you need more businesses to be coming to the DC Small Business Development Center?
Oh, I love that. I love that. Believe me, we have no problem recruiting, as you can see, going from 800 to 1769. And I got 2 months left, November and December.
Are any of these Howard students?
We getting them by the boatload now. Because I do a class. I did a class last week, actually. And after I did the class, career counseling class, I did 3 of them. The students have been walking down here ever since. So we get Howard students, we get American University students, we get Georgetown students. I mean, we get them Gallaudet. I've been working with Gallaudet for the past couple of years because, believe it or not, the hard of hearing community is a very impoverished community because businesses and the government don't want to hire people that are hard of hearing and deaf. And so what else is there left for them but to be entrepreneurs? So we're going to be rolling out in 2022. We're going to be doing some of our workshops in American Sign Language so that we get to that community. So these are the things that we do here. We've done workshops in Amharic, okay? We'll do them in any language when the community comes to me, we will do a workshop in your language. Because
so yes, you have a significant Ethiopian population, and that's why they need Islamic classes.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So I'm curious, are these students in any particular industry?
No, they're all over. I mean, from clothing to promotions, like concert promotions. I mean, they're doing everything, and I love it. I mean,
so let me get more specific. Is there any trend towards Bitcoin?
We're starting to see a trickle. Not much. I mean, I haven't been bombarded with Bitcoin. Not that I know a lot about it, but I would definitely hire somebody to come in and work with us on that. If there's a need that pops up, because that's what we do. We go out and find the experts, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm an expert in Bitcoins. That's not me.
Let me ask you this. Do you see any trends towards African American economic cooperation? Do you see the embassies, for example, reaching out, or do you see maybe Howard students, other students looking to do business in Africa?
Yeah, we actually do international trade as one of our cornerstones. So let me just run down what we do. We do one-on-one counseling for free. All SBDCs, so in the state of Maryland, the state of Virginia, Montana, Idaho, wherever, we all do it for free. All right. We do industry research for free. So you came in and said, I want to know the demographic of 5 miles near my business. We would do that, provide that data for you for free, go over it with you. In addition to that, we do international trade. So we work with the Import-Export Bank. We work with U.S. Commercial Services. In fact, we are on my center is on a global trade task force, and where we're working with Canada and Mexico, and of course the United States, where we are the partner, in trying to open up markets for small businesses. And I've hosted delegations from multiple African countries, Asian countries. So we do it all, but we're pinpointing, focused on how we can help our businesses do trade safely and where they get paid. Okay, because we all heard horror stories. Oh, I shipped everything over and never got paid. Well,
let me go back to that PPP. The stories I was hearing is that non-Black businesses were walking right through the doors on the PPP and the EIDL, whether or not they had banking history or not. Where Blacks were being flagged like they were at the airport.
Well, I can say that my customers didn't experience that. So, but I did hear, and we all know from the reports and the stories that were put out there initially, that during the first round of funding, they went to all of the companies that had, the financial infrastructure, the CPAs and everything were already working on the paperwork, and they just submitted the paperwork. So they had to still be small businesses, but they had everything in place and they were ready to go.
Do you think there will be more PPP or EIDL or EIDL money coming down?
Well, there still is a couple $1 billion left in the EIDL now. I don't know about the PPP, but the EIDL money is still available till December 31st. So, you got to get your paperwork in. You come into my center, DCSBDC.org, or you can go into the one in Maryland at MarylandSBDC.org, and have someone help you out. What we found was, the DMV did about 1.2 billion in PPP and EIDL, 1.2 billion. So, and my shop alone did 8 million this year, and 2020 we did 10.3 million. So, and these are confirmed numbers with the SBA. That was part of that 1.2 billion. But like I said, the year's not over. We're hoping that some of our clients will get their funding that we've been working with actually, we've been working with a couple of our clients on getting more funding. They got some of the initial funding when the cap was at 150,000. Now it's up to 2 million. They've gone back to get some additional money. So, and that's how we've been able to help our clients during this pandemic with the financing.
So a big thing for Black businesses is have your paperwork in order, have a business bank account, have your taxes done.
Whoa, there you go. Ooh, I'm glad you said that, because we found that a bunch of them didn't even have their taxes. They hadn't paid taxes in 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
But to their credit, they could have been following President Trump.
Oh, yeah, but see, Doni, come on, man.
We Black, we not Republican.
Right, and it ain't gonna work for us. And as they saw, it didn't work for them, because they came in and we said, okay, we'll bring your last 3 years of taxes in, blah blah blah, and they start laughing. Oh, well, I didn't pay taxes, but the government's not gonna give you money. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And the bank's not gonna give you money. So yeah, have your taxes paid, or at least in that
process.
realm, in that process. Have have your business plan because they want to see that as well. And we work with them. We work with people on their marketing plan, their business plan, their financial plan, and we do all that hand in hand with them. So we don't write it for them. Let's be real and clear about that. Because they come in and say, oh, well, hey, I'm going to open up an ice cream shop, write my business plan. No, we will work together, because a business plan is an autobiography. All right, let's be clear about that. You know what your business is. You know what you want to sell, how you want to service it. But and we're going to work with you on other pieces like the business development, the sales, the marketing, the social media piece. We're going to work with you on all of that, the intellectual property. All right. Howard University has a PRTC, Procurement Technical Resource Center, that is available for free. So they would do research for your patents and trademarks right here for free. We work with our clients on GovCon. Washington is a big government contract city, whether they're going state, federal, or local. And we work with them on that. We work with them on their certifications. We work with getting people on 8A schedule. All right. We work with them on getting on GSA schedule. So we do a lot. We work with them on branding, on their legal structure. We have a partnership with the Pro Bono Legal Clinic here in Washington, D.C. And these are lawyers that are doing pro bono work that costs, if you're going to pay them $400,000, $500,000 an hour. These guys, ladies and gentlemen, are working for us for free with our clients.
I can assure you, you're going to get a bunch of calls from Baltimore because I'm not hearing the same level of conversation here in Baltimore. I'm not. I could be wrong. I could be out the loop, but this is so refreshing to hear this from you. I wish I would have reached out sooner. For those who don't know, Small Business Development Center, there's a network of these centers around the country.
Yeah. There's 62 lead centers. All right. Howard University's a lead center, has always been. The University of Maryland is the lead center in Maryland, and they have offices throughout the state of Maryland. We have offices throughout the district. So we have strategic partners where we were doing counseling face to face. We do it virtual now, but we had offices at the Department of Small and Local Business Development. Department, why? Because they work with small and local businesses. We had offices over at the Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs. Why? Because every business in the District of Columbia has to go through DCRA, Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs, to get your business in order, to certify your business, to submit your articles of incorporation, to become in business. You have to go through them. So, the partnership was natural. We're over at American University Law School. We're over at the Chamber of Commerce, but everything is virtual at this point. We meet them virtually. And believe me, look at the number of hours, 4,500 hours of counseling. And this is not, calls, made up numbers. These are the actual numbers. I have papers. And these are reports that we submit to the SBA through our financial system, which is called Center IC. So every lead center, every sub center has access to Center IC. So when you come in as a client and I meet with you and you say, well, hey, Carl, I want a business plan, a marketing plan. I want to get a loan, all these things. You bring your laundry list and we'll start working on it and executing one after the other. And we track all of that in our Center IC. So those are the things that we do. But getting back to the centers, we're also located in Guam, American Samoa, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So there's 62 lead centers. California has 4 lead centers because of the land mass, and Texas has 4 lead centers. That's how you get to 62. And then we have the U.S. territories as well.
So the word on the street is you having way too much fun. First of all, you're back at Howard University. Two,
Yep.
you're executive director of the DC Small Business Resource Center. You're also there in the nation's capital, the political capital of the world. But then on top of that, you're doing a radio show.
Yeah, we have a radio show on Sirius XM called the Small Business Report, where we talk to small business owners, large government agencies, small government agencies, chambers of commerce, large businesses that want to do business with small businesses. And we talk to experts in marketing and finance and legal, that can help small businesses understand what they're trying to do. We've had the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office on. We've had, numerous people come on and talk about their businesses and how, the trials and tribulations of being a small business owner. And we got to get you on there, Doni, because we need to talk about why news media on the internet is so important, where people are getting faux news all day long. I mean, that's what's happening.
So you're on Thursdays,
Fridays, and Tuesdays. So the original show is on Thursday, and then we rebroadcast Friday. Yeah, that is a job, believe me, because I'm scheduling guests and then doing the show, and
then you're doing,
but I have a team.
Then you're doing all of the hours, the hundreds of hours of FaceTime with the client.
Yeah. Well, I don't meet with the clients. I meet with them initially, some of them.
Okay.
But I do, I'll do classes and all that here, presentations and all of that to recruit new small businesses. And then I'll meet with, some of the other our strategic partners. They want to check in and see how things are going. And, so we talk, we try to keep a tight knit group here. We have, and I've been doing this a long time. We have a very, very good small business ecosystem here. We all work together. And from past experience that we did not always do that. Everybody had their own little swim lane, stovepipe, and that's how we operated. Well, no, we matrix across each other. Like I said, I work with small business, DSLBD, Department of Small and Local Business, Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs, the Chambers of Commerce. We work with all of them. And the reason being, and they invite us in to be a part of their organization to bring this level of counseling to their businesses.
Do you ever get any calls from agencies or entities in Baltimore?
I'll be honest with you. I have, and we tell them that we can't cannibalize. And I'm not in their territory. But if a business is located in Baltimore, and
seriously, Carl.
Seriously.
If I'm running a center in Baltimore,
mm-hmm.
and I get word that the DCSBDC is
DCSBDC,
the Small Business Development Center is
mm-hmm.
doing incredible work,
mm-hmm.
having wonderful connections, building this small business ecology
mm-hmm.
in a historically significant city, historically significant to the Black community. DC, I think of Marion Barry, I think of business, I think of Donahue Peebles, I just think of Prince George's County, the wealthiest Black jurisdiction. I want to be a part of that. That's why we come down there and do the Black Wall Street Awards, because
mm-hmm.
Prince George's is so important. And as we discussed offline, Prince George's is also significant politically. In the state of Maryland, look
mm-hmm.
like Prince George is about to run everything. I mean, Derek Davis supposed to be moving up to treasurer, one of 3 significantly important positions when it comes to the Board of Public Works, the doling out of contracts. I like Angela also Brooks for governor, but she's holding tight now. I get it. Anthony Brown, he talking about AG, other people looking at his congressional spot. Prince George's, DC, black people, y'all got it going on. That's what I see, and I would want to be a part of that.
Well, you know, I spent 2 years on the National Board for Small Business Development Centers. I was elected by my peers. And the only reason why I didn't run for re-election was because of the PNC grant that we were given, and
it requires your attention.
Right. It required, and the last 2 years, believe me, Donnie, I mean, in the pandemic, and we're the National Board, we're looking at every small business development center. So it was very time consuming, but we got a lot done in the pandemic.
But you saying you couldn't be politicking and then getting work done. You focused on getting the work done.
Getting the work done. I got to focus on getting the work done because, you know, like I said, we discovered why Black businesses weren't getting the funding that they were looking for. And so I'm putting together a team of folks right now to focus on financial literacy so that we can overcome this. I mean, there's a couple of things that we got to do in the near future. 1, financial literacy. 2, we got to take cybersecurity serious. This is, you know, Howard is going through ransomware right now as we speak. All right.
Breaking news. Prince George's just made the news again. Councilwoman Monique Anderson Walker, according to Michael Haney, will be his running mate. So see, y'all to kick Baltimore to the curb.
Now it's a 3-legged stool, Donnie. It's got to be Baltimore, Prince George's, and Montgomery counties. I mean, you got to, you know, those 3 are the 3 biggest. And then Howard County is trying to make some noise too. But you guys are 3-legged stool, man. So you can't leave out Prince George's, you can't leave out Baltimore City, and you can't leave out Montgomery County. I'm gonna tell you. Now I'm just gonna say that, you know, any city, whether it's DC or Baltimore, has to be functioning at a high level. You know, that's where tourism comes in. You know, people can't be afraid to walk the streets at night. You know,
so tell me about it.
You got to have restaurants and theater and music venues and all of that to attract people, and that's what we want. We want that in Prince George's too, but it's got to happen in Baltimore as well because you're the city in the state of Maryland. You know, it's not Annapolis. Annapolis is a nice, quaint town, and you know, right now people go there as opposed to going into Baltimore because they feel safer, you know, but we got to clean that up. And how do you do that? By having thriving small businesses that are hiring.
It takes leadership. It takes leadership,
but you got to be committed.
You said that you're building, your team, the group of you are building a small business ecology. Right.
And that's with all of the agencies.
I got you. I would submit to you that there is an anti-business culture in Baltimore.
Well, if that's the case, then that's not good. And that has to change.
We don't have a Fortune 500. We don't have a city hall.
DC. DC don't have a Fortune 500.
Yeah, but you are closer to getting one. Montgomery County has it?
They probably do.
Well, what I'm getting to is I see city administration punishing businesses, black, white, it don't matter. It's a very anti-business culture. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you exactly why I think it's so.
Okay.
You get people that work for government that are responsible for dealing with businesses.
Mm-hmm.
But because these employees never ran a business, have no idea about running a business, your invoice will sit on that desk for 2 months extra. When they could have processed your check, you could have been paid. You know, vendors want to get paid.
Oh, they have to be, especially small businesses.
City of Baltimore has a bad reputation for being slow to pay people. Your vendors ain't gonna do no work. The man ain't gonna cut the grass if you don't pay him.
Right. Well, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. You have to have vision to make this thing happen. Years ago, I worked at the Maryland Park and Planning Commission, and Doug Duncan was the county executive.
I like Doug Duncan. He was almost governor till they pulled that dirty trick on him.
He was. Well, this is what Doug did. He said that Silver Spring should have the same kind of nightlife that Bethesda does. And we worked on the revitalization of Silver Spring. And I was a contract officer. And we went through a couple of iterations of what the town center should look like. And then we landed on what it is now. And people have responded by spending their money locally, going to the theater, going to the movies, going, the government center is open. They have concerts out there. Nightlife is thriving. You got live entertainment right there on Colesville Road. So we accomplished what Doug's vision was. So you have to have vision, but you have to have people in place to make it happen, and that's, so you say, well, Carl, how did you get to where you are? Well, I spent a lot of time around the Beltway gaining experience, and, I got the Wall of Fame behind me.
What advice, Carl, would you have for directors of small business development centers around the country that deal with, say, the Black community? Any advice for them?
Yeah, you have to analyze where the business is and where it should be, because sometimes business owners don't have the vision to grow. Okay, they have the vision to do, it's like gotta make the donuts, but the guy never said, well, I got to make the donuts till I'm able to hire somebody else to make the donuts, and then I can open up another spot. That's vision. But he has the wherewithal to do the technical piece of the job. Well, you got to analyze each and every business individually. You can't cookie cutter these businesses, because some will come in and say, I need marketing experience. I need marketing help. Some will come in and say, well, I need a business plan, marketing plan, financial plan. I need help with my finances. They kind of know what they need. And then we do a triage, come up with a plan, and we work with them on that plan. And that's what you're supposed to be doing, because some of them have no technical capability at all. So we talk about their computer infrastructure. Those are businesses that are not online. Okay, because they don't have the ability, coming in the door to say, okay, I need to get online. How do you do it? They don't know anything about e-commerce, merchant services that banks offer, none of that. So we're here to help them with all of that. So there's no cookie cutter approach. It's not like we're going to do these 5 things for you, and you. No, it doesn't work that way. I look at each one of them individually.
But I also sense that you want to see your businesses succeed. I just sense that innately.
Absolutely. Doni, it's like winning the Super Bowl, bro. I love winning. I don't need to be sitting here if I'm not winning. I want to win. That's number one. I'm at Howard University, brother. And believe me, the microscope, man, the alumni from around the country is looking at me. They want to know, what is he doing? He's making us proud so far. Can he keep doing it? And so I get a lot of calls. I mean, I get people coming in here all the time, alumni, big time alumni, folks, some of my classmates come in here. They want to know what's happening, what's going on. They listen to the show. They send me emails. They call up. They want to make sure that we stay the Mecca, that we stay number one. And that's what I strive for every single day. When I was on the board, the SBDC board, I said, well, hey, I'm aiming to be number one. And I'm gonna tell you, I learned from some great folks while I was on that board. And even before that, the state of Florida had this guy named Mike Myrie. I mean, this guy was such a visionary on how to run and manage his state, the international trade, because people buying oranges all over the planet. I learned from him, this guy Alan Adams in Georgia, this lady named Georgette in Massachusetts. They're selling cranberries worldwide. Brian Goldstein out of New York, he created a pipeline of New York wine and champagne in Asia, a pipeline, all right? Because now drinking New York wine, sherry, and champagne in Asia is like a status symbol, because think about it. When the folks came through Ellis Island and they brought their vineyards with them, where did they live? Where did they go? They went to New York. My grandmother had had a vineyard in her backyard in the Bronx. All right. So people, when they got here, New York was the number one vineyard. Now I think Sonoma Valley might be number one. Might be. I'm not 100% sure. But New York is a close number two, if not number one, as far as selling grapes. So a lot of people don't know that. But Brian created this pipeline of opportunity for the small businesses, the small vineyards in New York State to sell their wine, champagne, and sherry internationally.
Which small business development center are you closest with?
Well, because we're right here in between Maryland and Virginia, I'm close with both of them. But there are different size standards to small business development centers. Everything is based on population. And so we are lumped in with Alaska, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, all of those areas because of the size of the population.
Well, what I mean is, so let me try it this way. Do you deal with Atlanta at all?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Doni, I deal with Atlanta, Texas, Florida. I have those folks on my show. We talk about what they're doing down there. I just had the Virgin Islands in Pennsylvania. Last week I interviewed Kentucky. I've had interviews in Texas, Brooklyn.
Who were you most impressed by?
Oh, like I said, Florida with Mike Myrie and Georgia. New York, of course, because of the things they were able to do. Massachusetts, I spent a week up there, learning about their system.
They got a group up there called BEMA, B-E-M-A or BECMA, and they sued the city of Boston for some minority business. They said that they weren't doing as much in terms of minority business. They actually won a lawsuit, a black group, and I think the leader is a Morehouse alumni. And then out in Oakland. So let me shift gears a bit. We talked about the small business development centers. Can we talk a little bit about the various black chambers around the country?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We work with them.
You got Ron Busby right there.
Hey, I had Ron on the show like 3-4 times, looking to get him on again. Yeah, we definitely work with the Black Chambers. I mean, Phil Andrews out of New York. You know, we had him on the show. We work with their chamber. So I mean, you know, we do this, and then it's funny you point out Oakland because
Oakland got it going on, man.
And
Kathy Adams.
I had the brother that's running that program up on the show a while back. He's running this new program through the Hubert College out there in Northern California. It's called the Inclusivity Program. He wrote it, and I can't think of the brother's name, but he was the vice president of the Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce. All right. And he works for the California SBDC out there in Oakland. And he's running this new program, the Inclusivity Program, for the state of California, and it's been adopted throughout the country. So we are taking a very aggressive approach in working with not just the Black community, because in Arizona, the number one minority is the American Indian. You know, let's not forget them. The American Indian population, same thing in the Dakotas. So we might have an insignificant, very small Black community, but we work with them as well as the Native Americans. So, the Inclusivity Program is important to small business development centers around the country as well.
Yeah,
I've been lucky and fortunate that the majority of my clients are African American, so I don't have that problem of recruiting African Americans. On the flip side, I'm trying to increase my Native American, Asian, and Caucasian populations in our portfolio.
It's not widely discussed, and this would be an excellent time for some shameless self-promotion. But I got a new book out, I Am Black Wall Street. And in this book, I remind us that there are plenty of Black people with indigenous blood. It's not discussed much in American history. It's kind of like, brushed to the side. But there were Black people in this country when the first Europeans arrived.
Oh, yeah. And that's
a lot of us got that blood.
That's right. And we got and we have to take pride in it. I was telling some folks the other day when we were talking about how things change, and I said there's an album by the Four Tops called Changing Times. And on that album cover, and you can look this up, you will see my grandfather sitting on the stoop of the building he owned in Manhattan that he bought through a white attorney because he could not buy the building back then. All right.
What in Manhattan?
Manhattan. Look.
What year? What year?
Oh, I don't know what year he bought the building, but
they had Seneca Village in Manhattan.
Yeah, near Wall Street.
82nd to 89th Street. They tore it down to build Central Park.
Oh yeah, that's the other one. But they, Black people lived on Wall Street.
Yeah. And we're doing business on Wall Street.
Right.
The Godfather of Harlem did business down there. His name was Philip Payton. Long before the movie, I'm talking about the original.
Yeah.
This is the man that sold some of the first Black man to sell real estate in New York City. Philip Payton. They call him the father of Harlem, grandfather of Harlem.
Okay. I was reading. I was doing some research on Dapper Dan because I would love to get him on my radio show for many reasons. But so if you go and Google that, you'll see my grandfather sitting in front of on his stoop, and the Four Tops standing behind him. And
oh, they were there too?
Yeah, it's the album cover of the Four Tops.
I'm slow. Okay. So you talking about
Changing Times.
So this was the 70s?
Yeah. This was in the 70s. The album is called Changing Times.
And that was the theme, like black ownership, black business ownership.
Nah, it was like you got these brothers nicely dressed in a white bum. They thought my grandfather was probably a white bum. Because years ago, I talked to them about that. So check it out. Go when we get off, go Google that. You'll see the album cover, and then holler at me later. But my grandfather, if you look at his hat and his coat, it tells a story. He ain't no bum. And he's sitting in front of his own apartment building that he pretended to be the super. So he had one, it was 4 apartments. He had one in the front, and he got rent from the other 3. So, and the man only shopped at Tiffany's, So, I mean, he had some loot back in the day. Now, when he passed away, we never got anything.
Going back to estate planning and those other lessons that we have to learn.
Well, and the fact that the building was bought in somebody else's name. Okay, not his. Because believe me, I'll probably be living there now and doing the same thing he was doing. I'll fix the other apartments. I'll call somebody, but I'm living here rent free because everybody else is paying for it.
We just getting started, and the hour's almost up. Come on, put some information out there. How can people get in touch with you?
Oh, that's easy, man. DCSBDC.org, and the number is 202-806-1550. I'm the executive director, Carl Brown. My email is carl.brown@howard.edu. Real easy. But if you want services, just go to the website, DCSBDC.org. Sign up. We'll help you out. People say, well, I'm not in business. You don't have to be in business to get services. In fact, I prefer that you just have an idea. Bring that idea and let us work with you to flush it out. It's better to overcome, some of the things now than overcoming 2, 3, 4 years of a bad practice. But we'll still overcome that.
With the remaining time, can you just speak to our young entrepreneurs? I ain't getting no younger. I'm a couple years behind you.
Mm-hmm.
I know if I don't pass this Black Wall Street on to those in their teens, in their 20s,
right,
then I failed.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I got to show you a success story. A young man out of Los Angeles, California, developed this game, the Black Wall Street game.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a Monopoly board game. And it's so important to me to make sure this next generation of entrepreneurs is historically sound and also academically competent so that they can come to your center, they can connect the dots. And I know we haven't said this per se, but our purpose is to work ourselves out of a job, of course, into a very nice retirement. But you and I both have to be spotting our replacement at some point.
Absolutely. Mentoring is very important. I tell the students all the time, I wish I can do that Spock mind meld where I just touch my head and yours and dump it right in there, because if I took this to the grave, it would just be a waste. And I want to give these students and anyone that comes in my path all the knowledge and wisdom that I have so that they would be in a better place. That's the bottom line. So if you got an idea about a business and you just want to talk to somebody, call the center, set up a time and appointment and bring your idea. You don't have to bring anything else other than your idea. And let's work it out, because I want you to be fearless in putting your business together. And we can help you because we got the wisdom. Everybody on my team has an MBA or better. So academically, we got all that, but we're all small business owners as well.
See, that's it right there. Come on, say that again.
We all small business owners as well.
See, that's the therapeutic value of one helping another.
Exactly.
You can't tell me about it if you never experienced it.
Exactly. And the other thing that I like to point out is I sent all of my counselors to executive coaching so that they are executive coaches as well. I think right over here is my executive coach certificate to go along with all that other stuff. So it's not, I've been doing this for a long time.
You're true to this. You're true to this, not new to this.
True to this, not new to this. So I put it all together, So I said, here's the formula for success. And so when, I don't just hire folks that have book knowledge, because that's great, but I want them to have experience as well. And if you haven't had a small business where you're going, damn, I don't even know if we could be in operation next week because we don't have no money, or I don't know how we're going to make payroll because we ain't got no money, then I really don't need you, because I need you to have gone through that fire and have learned a bunch of lessons to go with your academic credentials to help my small businesses now. So that's the profile of the folks that I hire. Again, all small business owners, whether they're attorneys or CPAs or certified financial planners or whatever, project management planners or whatever, they have to bring that extra experience of business ownership to the table for us to move forward.
Carl Brown, did we ever give you a Black Wall Street Award?
Nah, but I got room on my wall for it.
Well, we're going to have to make this happen. And let me tell you, this is the 10th year of our awards.
Wow.
And we started in DC, right there, Bus Boys and Poets over on 14th.
All right.
We have to come back to celebrate our 10-year reunion. And we have to put you at the top of that list, because you make all of us proud. Man, I mean that from the bottom of my heart, particularly as you help with this next generation of entrepreneurs, and you connect. You do that connecting thing, Mm-hmm. You didn't complain about COVID. Like you said in the very beginning, you pivoted.
Gotta pivot. Make it happen.
Okay, let's get your contact info one more time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. DCSBDC.org, 202-806-1550.
Let me get that number again,
202-806-1550. And Carl.Brown, is Carl with a C, .Brown, BROWN, at howard.edu. And we easy. We ain't hiding. The lights are on.
Is this right?
That's right. The lights are on and the door's open. We want you to come through. Call us, email us, come through the office. We're here for you. We ain't trying to be the best kept secret of no place. We want to be the known entity that will help you get to where you want to go. Period.
And you're also on XM Thursdays at noon.
Thursday at noon, Fridays at 9 a.m. So have coffee with us. And then Tuesdays at noon again, have lunch with us. So we at lunchtime special, or we a coffee break, one or the other.
You also get that, you got to do the media thing.
Oh yeah. That, and that's how I got it, man. I went to them and talked to them about getting the PSA, and they were sitting there, listening to me, and they were like, well, who are you? What do you do? Where you do it? How you do it? Who you do it for? And after I was done, and I said, well, how about the PSA? I said, nah, man, we're going to give you a radio show. We need to hear about this all the time. They were like, can you do this live?
I agree.
So, we We try to bring it. We're trying to make a difference, Donnie. All this crap that we've been doing for the past 30, 40 years, we got to make it worth something, man. The runway is much shorter than it used to be. All right. So like you, I got to give it away. And so they gave me a venue. And then check it out. The History Channel called me up and had me on a couple of their shows. And I'll be on the couple of shows in the Thanksgiving and Christmas talking about toys. So that Black Wall Street game, man, that's on point. You know, we got to get that known. We got to get that out here, man. So
don't let this be the last time you come on this show. That's Prince George's County right there. Y'all got a lot of political stuff. I'm so proud of you, man. May the good Lord continue to keep and bless you, your circle, your business family, because what you're doing is everything, man. It's everything. Miseducation of the Negro. We the only ones send our children to go to school and come out and work for somebody else. And you're breaking that mentality. We're supposed to be landowners. We're supposed to be bosses.
Yep. Owners.
And it's not new. We've been doing this.
We've been.
Your granddaddy, all the way back. Not all blacks were slaves, for instance. There's so many misconceptions about our history. But long story short, it did not begin nor end with slavery.
Nah. We are leaders, natural born leaders, and that's what we're going to show, you know, the rest of the world that we're leaders. I mean, if it ain't going to happen here at Howard or in America, it ain't going to happen. And so that's what gets me up every morning, you know, how I can make an impact. And I tell you, when I run these reports every week, man, I'm looking at impact. To go from 800 clients in 2019, from 500 in 2018 to 1769 in 2021, and the year's not over yet. You know, we make an impact.
You will be hearing from me because I got some ideas. We got to expand the brand. So you see, this is our new brand, the Black USA. Be More News. You know, we still focused on Maryland, but this is our pivot. BlackUSA.News to, you know,
open it up. I mean, there's black folks doing wonderful things all across this country, really across the planet. But, you know, let's focus at home, see how it goes. In a couple of years, you might have an international division, man. You know, so.
Especially if I start coming down and take some of them classes. I'm proud of you, man. Thank you again for joining us this morning. This must not be the last time.
It won't be, man. I love coming on. I love sharing my story with you, man. So continued success, Donnie, and thank you for letting me come on your show, man.
Have a great day. We'll be back at 7 p.m. tonight with Sister Biz. Carl, thanks again, big brother.